Hello, everyone. Welcome to God's Prepared Warrior Roundtable live tonight. And hopefully you guys can hear me. And I would know that if I would bring up my chat box, because you guys tell me if you can hear me over on the YouTubes. Thank you, Glenn, for that 5x5. I appreciate that over there. Welcome tonight. Aaron, welcome to the live chat tonight over here on YouTube. Salt Mist, welcome to you as well. Let's see, how many more of you are over here? I already said hello to Glenn. John, welcome, John, to tonight's live. Scott, welcome. Let's see, who else do we have over here? You guys are just Aaron. Did I say Aaron already? Welcome, Aaron. Welcome to the live roundtable tonight. Awesome. Thank you for the 5x5, Aaron and Scott. I appreciate that. Tonight, guys, we have a really awesome live stream tonight. I have some intelligence that I found, and I want to share that with you so that you and your family will be prepared. Also want to share some spiritual preparation for you to be doing too as well tonight. But as always, let's go to the channel news. So because, it's like I always say, this channel is really not a channel unless you're here. And so you guys are here almost every Wednesday, all of you guys on here on YouTube and on TikTok. And or I'm sorry, on Monday. And I'm already thinking 2 days ahead. And you guys are faithful, and I just want to appreciate you guys and share with you what you guys are doing, because reality, this is what you do on the channel. So let's look at our channel news, which is our numbers for all of our social media. So YouTube, we are sitting today, and man, I'm just going to tell you right now, it's bad news for YouTube. For all my subscribers, y'all are going to have to work hard. I'm just saying. You probably already know. You've been following me for a while. You already know what I'm talking about. So YouTube, we are sitting at 851 subscribers as of today. This week, we gained 4 new subscribers on our YouTube channel. And that's pretty awesome. I'm excited about that, So we're sitting there at 851. TikTok over here. You guys, if there's a way for you guys to applaud yourself, TikTok, we are sitting at 3,822 followers on TikTok. So guys, thank you for liking the channel and sharing this out. If you haven't done that, share the channel. I would love for you to share that with your family and friends. And right now, as of this week, we have 40 new followers on TikTok. So that's super awesome. Facebook, we have 2 new followers on our Facebook page. And that brings us to the grand total of 173 over on the God's Prepared Warrior Facebook page. The Facebook community group page has remained the same at 27 subscribers. So next week, I'm going to be adding new content to that group on Facebook. And it is going to be where you can get behind the scenes of stuff, of me doing stuff around the house, in all that I'm prepping around here. So starting next week, make sure you're following that. You're going to be able to see that kind of a thing there. So in other words, it's like a membership page, but you don't have to pay no money. You just go over there and answer 3 questions, I think it is, and you're in. That's all you got to do. So head over there, because next week I'm going to start doing a bunch of new stuff over there. So go and share the Facebook community. It's called God's Prepared Warrior Community on the group tab. So go check it out. Hi, Shelly. Welcome in tonight. Thank you for joining us. I'm glad you're here. So that's Facebook. Instagram. Okay, here's the bad news, YouTube. you guys on YouTube, here's the bad news. Instagram has surpassed you. Uh, Instagram is sitting at 881 new followers. That brings us to 38 new subscribers on Instagram this last week. And so that's pretty awesome. Instagram is killing it. On X, if you're following me on X, we are sitting at 1,050 on X. We're actually up 5 new subscribers there. X kind of goes up and down. It's kind of weird. So total for this week, you guys, this is you guys doing all of this. Total this week is 89 new subscribers and followers on our channels. And so, guys, thank you so much for doing that. Like, share, and subscribe to the channel. You know, the main community for you guys on TikTok is over here on YouTube, and we would love for you to join us on YouTube on Monday nights over here, because you actually get to ask me questions, because this thing just really goes fast, and it's so hard for me to catch stuff on here. So I would invite you to come over to YouTube and follow us there at God's Prepared Warrior. All right, so let's look at the news. I like to share, if you're new, I like to share things that are happening in our news and kind of talk a little bit about that. Hey, Mondo, welcome. Praying for your baby tonight. So let's look at some of the things that we have. So here where I live in Central Texas, the harvest supermoon is to appear 60% brighter than usual tonight. So here later on, I'm going to see if I can go get some pictures of that and see what that looks like, post it on YouTube and Instagram, all the stuff. So make sure you check that out later. But that's happening tonight. We should be able to see that that supermoon tonight. So not sure if you can where you are, but I found that today. This next piece of news is from Newsweek, and all of the links to all of these things that I'm sharing with you today are in the description here on YouTube. So if you want to double back and look at some of this news, you can. All of that is there for you to click on and check out. U.S. senators reaffirmed the defense treaty in warning to China. If you have not known this, China is encroaching really close to the Philippines and places that it shouldn't be, kind of just like what Russia is doing to Poland and all of that. The Philippines has welcomed a resolution introduced in the United States Senate condemning China's territorial actions in the South China Sea and calling on President Donald Trump to take necessary actions to assist the U.S. ally. Why is this important, you might ask? I'm glad you did. This resolution comes amid a border push by the U.S. to leverage Pacific partnerships to counter China's growing military incursions in the Indo-Pacific. So the Philippines has been, an ally with the United States for a long time now, and China is now testing the waters. They're testing the waters, right? And so the Philippines ain't having it. So pay attention to that. We got to pay attention to these things, and watch out and be in prayer, because these people are trying to they're trying to see a way in. I've been saying, when we look at history, because I love history. If I had my way in life, I would have been a history teacher. But the Lord had other plans. And so, when we look at history, we know that every superpower, every dominion, every kingdom has come to an end. And so, the world is now clamoring for their, I'm going to say there, because this is actually everywhere, right? For their bid into the game of being the next superpower. And so I'm not saying that, that's going to happen, or, we're going to continue to be the superpower. Hey, thanks for the gift, guys. Appreciate that. What I am saying is that we have to stay vigilant, right? Not only because we need to be that way, but because the Bible tells us to do that, right? We need to be vigilant to the things that are happening so that we can be in prayer, um, for ourselves, for our families, and for one another, and that God would just intervene in our world and help us through it. I can go all the way and say, because we're not perfect, our country's not perfect. It's messed up too, just like all the others. And but we serve a God who is perfect, and so it's important for us to just pay attention. So um, the Philippines ain't having it, and they're inquiring of the United States or Donald Trump to intervene in all of that that's happening there. So just so you know that is happening, and it is something for us to pay attention, because at the same time we have the other end of the spectrum over here, testing the air, right? And they're flying into other places that they shouldn't be, and that I think that is their strategy, because if they can push that and get away with it and nothing happened to them, they can go further and further and further in, right? So just let's keep that in prayer. Just thought I would share that today. Um, Here's the next piece of information. I'm probably gonna tear this lady's name up, but forgive me. But the DOJ, let's see, DOJ Harmeet Dillon issues a mess around and find out warning regarding threats against her. So Dillon accused California Governor Gavin Newsom, communications director, and Democratic senator of placing a target on her back. So the assistant attorney general for the Justice Department Civil Rights Division, Dillon, issued a warning about making threats against her, saying that they're being referred to the U.S. Marshal Service, and she stated that she will not tolerate no such threats by woke idiots, including those who work for Gavin Newsom. She spoke on Sunday. Hey, thanks for the gifts, guys. That looks pretty cool. And so she also said, FAFO, which means for mess around. Other words would using a different word, mess around and find out. She added, using that acronym to those that were threatening her life. So this lady ain't having it. She's not playing games. So um, what can I say, right? We're moving in that way, and how people are responding to things now, right? I mean, we can look at what has just happened over the last 3 to 4 weeks, and on the other end, right, of how people are just being taken out, and now we're having to um, protect our own selves, right? Christians are being under attack, and it's time for us um, to stand in the gap and be able to, you know, be like that and say, we're not taking this anymore. We're not. And, give it to the Lord in prayer. So that's happening. That poor lady's life was threatened, and now she's really angry. Um, so yeah, that's something to watch. Because she names out some people in that thing. So yeah, she puts them on blast. Guys, this one I thought I would throw in here. It's weather related. It says winter weather warnings issued for 8 states, with up to 9 inches of snow. How to, and it says how to save your garden for snow. So I saw this. The link is in the description here on YouTube. I think it's important because some of us have a garden and we plant things, and that's part of our food preps. And so I think we are in a La Nina weather system this year, which means that we're going to have a lot of cold winters and a lot of snow in different places. I know that that's probably not Texas, unless we just get this wild weather that comes through. So, guys, we should actually already be prepping. I always say that whenever the weather begins to change, we should be changing also, right? So last night I worked on my yard, mowed it, and then the weather was so nice yesterday here in Texas that I sat outside and I watered the grass and I stayed out there the whole time, moving around the sprinkler and all that kind of thing. And the neat thing is I didn't sweat. And so if you don't know, like some people, uh, they probably got snow already, but just saying, she'll tell us in the chat. But here you can't sit outside and be dry because you will sweat everywhere, right? And so um, we have to already be prepping for the weather that is coming, right? Because there's a lot of work to be done, right? To winterize your home, to protect your garden, right, from the cold and things like that. So, guys, it's so important for you to be ready. And I always say, whenever the weather changes, we should begin to prepare for that new coming weather system that's coming, right? So, guys, we are transitioning from summer to fall, right? You might say, Fernando, winter's still a long way off. If you live in Texas, I will agree with you because our winter is January, February, sometimes March. So yeah, we still have hot days coming ahead. I'm pretty sure, and stuff like that. So be ready because we are already being told that winter is coming and it's going to be a very snowy winter. So keep that in mind, guys. Keep that in mind. All right. Hey Al, I see you over here on TikTok. I see you there. Thank you for the roses. So let's be ready for that because that's coming. Winter always kills some of our livestock. Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying. That's John. John is sharing that there. Shelly says, I covered the garden tonight, brought some things in, freezing next 2 nights. Thursday, man, Thursday's supposed to be near 80. Wow, that's nice and cool for you guys. We're still kind of warm. It's not bad, but hey, um, Salt Miss, what's the weather look like where you are? I always pick on Salt Miss because it never gets hot there where she is. That's just too awesome. All right, so that's coming up. So guys, be ready for that. Don't procrastinate when it comes to weather related things. All right, the next one is police arrest a man accused of making threats against TikTok headquarters in Culver City. So apparently, this guy is under arrest because he made multiple online threats targeting the TikTok headquarters. The employees first responded receiving a series of online threats across multiple social media platforms. Then on Friday, they told police the man had threatened TikTok headquarters. And guess what? They went and picked him up and they took him in. So yeah, I thought that was interesting that someone would threaten TikTok. That's funny. So, but yeah, I mean, I'm not saying it's funny, but I mean, I don't know. I'll stop there while I'm ahead. So yeah, so they picked him up and they have arrested him. So yeah, after a crisis, I think he kind of like um, locked himself up in his home because it says here that after 90 minutes, the suspect, um, the crisis was over. The negotiators had finished with him. So yeah, so that's pretty interesting, that piece of news. Immigration agents become increasingly aggressive in Chicago. Yes, of course. I mean, they are fighting people in the streets. So if you head over to X, you can see all of those videos there where you know the agents are doing their job and people are getting in the way. There's just this huge uproar of things happening in our world, and so guys, we have to incline to the Lord for this stuff that is happening, and we need to pray for the people that are being injured, um, because they decided to go out on the street and take it out on these people, and we just need to pray for them. Pray for our law enforcement officers as they're working there, and that God would just protect everyone um, there. So that's happening. Another piece of news here says that Trump appears to reveal another strike on alleged cartel drug boat. So on Sunday, President Donald Trump appeared to reveal the U.S. had conducted another strike on an alleged cartel drug boat as he celebrated the 250th anniversary of the U.S. Navy aboard the aircraft carrier USS George H.W. Bush. So apparently there was another boat that was taken out that is carrying drug runners and probably possible drugs. And there is this huge crackdown on drugs. So guys, we need to be in prayer for that because that is actually something that is happening very, very hugely in the United States, and it's being brought in by the Mexican cartels from Mexico. And today on X, if you are on X, I posted a video from Ironclad, and they are talking about that very thing, and they expose how much of the cartel business is here in the United States, specifically because they come through Texas. And this is why Donald Trump has put troops along the border, especially in the Big Bend National Park area, because that is where people are coming through. And you guys who follow me know this, but I go camping every November, and my whole goal is to hit all of the state parks here in Texas. And my last hurrah, or my last place to camp that I have not camped before, is Big Bend National Park. And so, um, let's let's just say that that's going to be an interesting uh, week of camping, because I plan to camp out there for a whole week, and that's going to be pretty cool. So that is not till years away, because I still have a lot of state parks to visit here in the state of Texas. So yeah, so go check that out if you have X. Go to my page. You will find me there at Rev Charles 2 there on X. This next one comes. Um, it says fire engulfs home of South Carolina judge who had received death threats. State's Chief Justice says the fire that sent 3 people to the hospital appeared to have been caused by an explosion. This man has been receiving death threats, and his house exploded. So let's keep him and his family in prayer. That's not a good thing. And 3 people are in the hospital that have been injured because of that explosion. The last piece of news here that I'm sharing with you guys tonight is Oregon and Illinois clash with Trump administration over the National Guard deployments. And Donald Trump says, okay, no problem, puts in a call to Governor Greg Abbott here in Texas and says, hey, can I have some troops to go over here to to Oregon? And he says, sure, I'll give them to you. So President Donald Trump called up 200 National Guard troops in Oregon, deploying Guard troops from California and Texas to areas across the country. So that's happening. He is not backing down from that. It is time to get law and order established in the United States because there's just a bunch of mess happening. And so Donald Trump is trying to fix that. And so let's keep that in prayer because that's a big thing too that can, really kick things off in the wrong direction. And so we really need God's guidance in all of that. Also, all right. So that's the news for you to know. If you didn't know, hopefully you know now. But tonight I want to talk to you guys about something that I found, and I want to talk to you about this hospital threat assessment that has come out. It is a warning, and I want to share this with you guys, and I want you to know how we should respond to it, because you will hear from me that we prepare on this channel physically and spiritually, and we don't prepare out of fear, but we prepare out of faith and responsibility that God has given us to take care of our family and our homes. And so tonight I want to talk to you about this hospital threat assessment that has come out. So this is a briefing paper that is being circulated within our intelligence agencies and preparedness circles. It has come out today. I follow another YouTuber who shared this out today, and I went and looked this up myself, and yeah, it is out there. And so if you know Command 11, I would encourage you to follow them. They're the ones that kind of brought this out. And Command 11 you can find on X. I'm friends with them over there on X, so you can find them there. I'm not really sure. I'm pretty sure you can find them on Instagram. But Command 11 is a geopolitical and strategic intelligence firm offering consulting, threat assessment, disruptive intelligence, cyber threat intelligence, strategic communications, and risk and impact assessments. So this is what they do, and they are used by the United States. And so this publication has come out, and they have all of this information about the what did I say? Oh yeah, the hospital threat assessment. So I want to kind of go over this with you so you guys can check it out and understand. We can understand together because I'm still trying to figure this out myself. So the Command 11 has updated the U.S. hospital threat assessment, and so I want to look at this here with you together. Command 11, asserts that hospitals and trauma centers, especially tier 1 centers, are being targeted in a coordinated campaign by ISIS, orchestrated by Al-Qaeda and leadership, the Al-Qaeda leadership and allied networks, with an emphasis on multi-city simultaneous attacks on mid-tier U.S. Canadian cities. And so this paper frames this as a prelude to a large attack and claims high credibility from its advisory network. And so you can find this on command11.com. They'll have a website. you can check them out also. Um, uh, Government and sector bodies have reacted defensively in March 2020 of this year, and circulated an advisory about a social post alleging coordinated hospital attacks. The FBI publicly said that it had not identified a specific, credible, corroborated threat to the U.S. hospitals at that time. The bulletin and the follow up urged caution, but not confirm an imminent multi-city plot. Um, I share that with you because if you take all of the things that have happened this month, we're day 6 in the month of October. 6 days into October and the month of September, and you take all of those things, and you kind of want to ask the question, is this already happening, right? When you think about it, what can we see in the recent months, right? We see the increase in violent incidents, right? We see the increase of hoax bomb threats and swatting events, right? Where they call and they say, "Hey, this is a bomb threat," and it causes a lockdown, right? Um, you know, these are against hospitals. These are against universities. Um, these are on people, individual people, right? The cartel is now doxing um, the ICE agents. They're putting out there that they want you or someone to take them out, and they're willing to pay you. If you catch them alive, you get this much money. If you eliminate them, you get this much money. And that is out there, guys. That is happening right now, right? We have U.S. locations where shootings are happening, where hostages are being taken, hospital staff assaults in Pennsylvania, several hospitals, right? Shootings reported around the country. Um, I, I'm not telling you anything that you don't know, right? And so we're seeing all of this, and you have to ask yourself, is this already happening, right? Um, I'm not sure if I follow Sean Ryan, and the Sean Ryan show, and he had a while back a lady by the name of Sarah Adams, and she worked for the CIA, and she was an officer there with the CIA, and she appeared on the Sean Ryan show, and she talked about how Al Qaeda has cell groups within the United States, and they're all just waiting for the go ahead uh, to do their thing, right? And she came out and she gave us a warning that they were doing that. That the elements are present, they're capable, and they're there, and there are gaps in policy, and intelligence that create risks, and so that was her job, right? And her statements are those, when she was an analyst for the CIA, and so you gotta look at these things, and you have to take them into account because of all the things that are happening now. Um, you know, her claims are of high value because of where she worked and what she did, right? And so if you want to go over there to the Sean Ryan show, I follow him on YouTube, and look for her interview with him. Very, very insightful, and you will probably be mad when you learn how the United States worked with the Taliban. So just giving you a heads up, you might even get madder than what you probably already are with our government. But anyway, so you know, she has said and has come out that Al Qaeda is already here in the United States, and they came in through the southern border here through Texas, and they are in the U.S. and there are cells that remain silent as of now. So you have to ask the question: has it already begun? The short answer to that is, not as confirmed, right? Hasn't been confirmed. Hasn't been coordinated, or we haven't seen anything come out, right? But all of the elements are there, right? The longer answer is, we are seeing a rise in threats, and especially to the healthcare system. We're seeing hoaxes, we're seeing isolated violent incidents, and we're seeing global attacks on hospitals. I think not too long ago, France had upped their threat assessment for their hospital, but I think theirs was more of, casualties coming in, an increase of casualties. So, we are seeing all of this around the world. It's not just the United States. So, those trends increase risk and raise the odds that hostile actors attempt to might attempt to be opportunistic, and strike these facilities and our cities, right? So that means that the threat environment has hardened, right? And that there are these are worrying indicators. I get it. I understand. Fernando, you're scaring me. Don't be afraid, right? That's the Bible tells us that 365 times in the Bible. Think God wanted us to know that. There's one that you can take away every day. So, we need to be prudent, we need to be vigilant, and we need to be prepared. You will hear that from me probably on almost every video, or especially every TikTok video, right? You'll see me saying that in there. And so it's important for us to know that these things are happening. And has it begun? It looks like it has, right? But we don't have a definite yes, it has begun, but it's an opportunity for us to stay vigilant. What are some actionable preparedness things that we can do, right? I didn't really want to talk about situational awareness because I think I've been hitting on that a lot in the last couple of weeks. But because tomorrow is the anniversary for October 7th, I think it's important for us to know that we have to be vigilant, especially tomorrow, because it is the anniversary of what happened in Israel. And so, we need to have situational awareness a part of us. And so, it was a woman judge. Thank you, Shelley, for clarifying that. And so, it's to that point, right? Um, Shelley says we've been acclimated, which is dangerous. Yes, we have. You're right. Scott Hummer says situational awareness is protecting yourself are critical today. Yes, it is. Um, so that it's important for us to really pay attention. Scott, you're right. I was getting to that. They found another system in New York of cell phones that dial 911 and mess all that up. So they found another system. I don't know if that was yesterday or day before, but they did. You're right, Scott. They did find that there in New York. So every single day, the United States is being tested, from its communication to its infrastructure, to airplanes flying by by Alaska that are Russian planes, and so we're being tested. Cyber threats are every single day, and so we have to stay vigilant. We may not be able to control those things, but I can tell you, you can control the things that are around you. For example, when it comes to cybersecurity, man, you need to be changing those passwords all the time. Don't let them sit there and have a password for the next 20 years, because by the time that 20-year mark hits, your password has already been discovered. And so, you could have bugs on your computer. You could have somebody actually living on your computer watching your every move because you have a webcam built in on your computer. You're living your life, and somebody in another country is watching your everyday life because you leave your laptop open. So, um, guys, we have to be vigilant, yes, to the things that are happening, but also to the things that are around us here as well. That is so so important. So make sure that you are making those preparations, right? All right, so let's talk about that. What are some actionable steps that we need to take, right? So I would venture to say that we need to have medical readiness and community first aid. What do I mean by that? I wanted to go beyond situational awareness today because I didn't want to beat that because I've been beating it for the past couple of weeks. So I'm going situational awareness is key, but I'm going to be giving you some new things. So if you guys are taking notes, I would take notes. I would encourage you to be medically ready and be first aid ready. What do I mean? Uh, I would encourage you to learn stop the bleed. I would encourage you to learn trauma skills. I would encourage you to go beyond the first aid kit that has band-aids in it and maybe some 2 inch by 2 inch square gauze, and move away from that, because we should all know that, right? We should know that if you get a small cut, you get a band-aid, you peel off the little ends on the tape and you put it on you right after you put Neosporin or whatever you're going to put on there, some kind of antiseptic, right? We need to go beyond that, right? Because we need to look at what's happening in our world, right? Can you imagine all of that stuff that's happening and no one knowing how to help somebody who is in trauma, right? Um, so I would encourage you, take Stop the Bleed classes, take learn trauma skills, right? Maybe you host that. Maybe you know a friend who's in law enforcement that can teach them or teach it, and you bring them to your house, you host it, and you bring your friends, your family, your mag, whoever, your tribe, and you guys learn together. I would encourage you to do that. That's you becoming a professional citizen. And maybe you host this community training, right? Maybe you learn to use a tourniquet. You know, I've never heard of a tourniquet until what probably prior to COVID, when I learned about tourniquets. Oh no, when I was in prison, we had a short class on tourniquets, and we never carried any of them, but in the medical kit they were there. So learn how to use that stuff, right? There's actually a process to use a tourniquet. You don't just kind of like put it on, and there there's certain steps you got to do to use that thing. And so learn that, right? Maybe you have a friend who's in the hospital, and you can talk to that person, and you can ask them, what is your hospital's plan? Do you guys have a plan, right? Maybe it's getting that person to educate themselves and they can share that information with you. What is that plan if something really kicks off? How are medical things going to be taken care of? And if we enter a poop hits the fan situation, will we lose that kind of a thing, right? Depending on the thing, right? Find that out, right? It's good to connect with your community and look at those things. Maybe it's connect with your local church, your church groups, to coordinate volunteer medical responders, right? I mean, look at all of the church shootings that have happened in the last couple of weeks, and were those communities really prepared? I am thankful that our church has a security team. I know that some of these churches had security team. I know that one of them didn't, and they actually didn't want anyone to have any kind of response weapons in the sanctuary, and it really impacted them greatly. So, how do we connect with the community? How do we help and support that, right? Um, do you know psychological first aid, right? Trauma after an attack spreads widely, right? Um, would you learn how to help in response to that, right? Maybe become a chaplain, maybe become in a position like that, a volunteer chaplain, where you can go to and use help and assist people in that way. I'm a chaplain. I can do that. I can go respond to things that happen in my area, and I can give assistance in that way, right? Maybe you go for training for that. You can actually take training for those kinds of things. So I would encourage you guys to upgrade yourself and learn new things and be able to respond in a way where you move beyond just the first aid kit and learn how to really administer life-saving things. Maybe you become, like Shelly says, right? CPR trained. Shelly says, my first aid CPR has expired. Our SD has an intense training course. Yeah, go take it, go renew it, Shelly. I would encourage you to do that. When poop hits the fan, it really doesn't matter at that point. But you already know, right? It's just going and listening to them talk and then going through the process and continuing that education. But this is why I talk so heavily about practicing with your preps, right? If you know CPR and first aid, you should practice that stuff. If you know how to um, get a stethoscope and check somebody's blood pressure with that by just putting it on their palm and doing whatever I don't know how to do that. My mom does. My mom's a nurse. If you know how to do that, teach somebody else that, right? It's time that we begin to educate people on what we know, right? I think that's so important. I think we have moved away from sharing all of that information down to our family, and we need to continue that, what we used to do a long time ago. And Shelly says, yes, I need a refresher course. Go for it, Shelly. Learn it all, because you become a professional citizen. You're not just a citizen and you're watching idly by as things happen. You are actually stepping in to that situation, and you are someone who can help. And so I would encourage you to become that professional citizen. Um, so let's talk about communication. I think communication is important, mainly because I am a licensed GMRS operator, and that is something that I've kind of jumped into and have learned. And I am now teaching people how to use radios and communicate from far distance. And, eventually the cell phones are going to go out. And what communication are you going to have if that cell phone goes out? The question you need to ask yourself is, if cell phones go out, can you still communicate? What is your alternative, right? So there's a video that I put out. I can't remember the name of it, but I will go back later and I will add it to this live link description, and that way you guys can go back and look at it. But I talk about my PACE plan that I have set up for my wife and myself. And, the PACE plan is, you might ask, Fernando, what is that? So PACE is an acronym, PACE, and it stands for primary, alternate, contingency, emergency. And what you do is, what is the order that, what are those steps in that plan? So primary, for right now, today, cell phones are in use, right? So that is my primary means of communication. And emergency 911 in all cell phone is programmed in there. And you can communicate with your phone, and you can tell it to call 911. I'm going to say it because I don't want my phone to do it. And it will actually call out. And so right now, our primary communication is our cell phone. The alternate, if cell phones go down, would be for myself, I go to my GMRS radio. See if I can grab my bag, because I always have it with me. So this is my comms bag. I have my GMRS radio here. I have my ham radio here. I have several walkie-talkies in here. This is my base radio station here. And I have my Meshtastic radio here. So this is all of my comms bag. If communications go down, I have several contingency ways to communicate with the family if things go down. Now, I would encourage you to have a plan. You need to buy radios. These are cheap. I bought this radio, this GMRS radio, for $25 on Amazon. I got some upgrades on it. I have an upgraded antenna. If I can get it out of here. And then I've added a pigtail in the back, which kind of extends my range a little bit. So $25, guys. And then you get your family member to buy one. And if you guys live in proximity, because remember, this is line of sight communication. This radio has to connect with another radio. There can't be a building in the way. Somebody has to be higher than the other to be able to communicate. You do need a license for this. It's $35. You don't have to take a test. And one license covers your whole family, your whole immediate family. This is the best option and my alternate plan of communication. What is the contingency, right? If all else fails, if these fail on me, if I have no way to charge, which is not true because I do have a way to charge them if the lights go out, and I don't have anything else, right? I can always switch to my Meshtastic radio, where I can send out text messages, because this Bluetooths to my cell phone, and my cell phone doesn't need to be connected to a network, and I can send out text messages to a family member that also has this same device. And we can communicate via text through this Meshtastic device. Guys, you need to have a communication plan. What is the emergency? For me, if all of that fails, all of those communications fail for me, I have an emergency radio where I can at least hear if information is being given out over radio. I can use that as emergency. That is the last ditch effort of communication that I have on my part. So I have all of these levels of communication through different radio systems to communicate, even if communications go down. And so, guys, I would encourage you to have a communication plan. If you need help with that, send me an email, godspreparedwarrior@gmail.com. I will help you with your PACE plan. Next thing, I know we're almost done here. I would encourage you guys to build community. Get with your neighbors. talk with your neighbors, talk with your church family, your church Sunday school group, whatever. Maybe you have a tribe, maybe you have a mag. Get with all of those people and start preparing now, because the days are getting um, worse and worse, right? Don't wait for the crisis. Don't wait for the crisis to happen to say, you know what, now I think I need to be ready. No, you should have already been ready a long time ago. So make sure that you are doing that, right? Um, you're sharing all of that learning that you're doing with medical, all of that you're doing with communication, and you're doing all those things, right? Um, I would encourage you to volunteer at hospitals, volunteer in these kinds of places, because this is where you're going to learn that kind of information, right? Um, don't forget also about cyber, right? It's important for you guys to lock down your cyber related items, your accounts. Make sure you're changing your passwords periodically, guys, because they are testing the systems. You can always follow me on TikTok, and you can see all the things that I will post out there where this business has been hacked. This phone organization has been hacked. All of these things, I always put those things out, and they're happening on a ongoing basis, and it's important for us to be vigilant to that, so that we can secure our own things online, because those things are important, right? You need to back up your medical. You know what? I would back up your medical records, man. I would just make sure that you have that. Create yourself a emergency binder with all of that information in one spot, so you don't got to go digging for your your licenses. You don't got to dig for your what do you call it, your registration for your car. You don't have to dig for your the information on your house, all of that. There should be a specific location where you have all of that information. And because you have that in one spot, in the event you have to bug out or bug in, you have that information at hand. You don't have to dig through the garage. You don't have to dig through the attic, the basement. You have it all in one spot. I would keep all that information, um, and make sure that you have it not just on hard copy, but also in digital form. So make sure that you have cyber hygiene. You're changing your passwords, and they're strong passwords. It's not something really easy that people can guess, because you don't want to use 1 2 3 4 5, because if you watch Spaceballs, hey, that's the code for my my luggage. If you know. So I would keep those things. Here's the spiritual response that I want to share with you guys tonight. Um, we need to mobilize together. Hey, thanks for the galaxy, guys. Appreciate that. We need to mobilize together and start forming prayer chains. We need to start forming together and start putting together spiritual support for those around us. Because, guys, I know that my channel is called God's Prepared Warrior. And I say I am God's prepared warrior because I am for my family. But I want you to know that this channel is also yours. And I always call you guys God's prepared warriors. And so you are a warrior for the Lord, and you need to train other people. You need to support other people. You need to encourage other people to do the same things that I'm telling you tonight. Because can you imagine how better it is for us to be well informed together? How much we can gather together, utilize our gifts, and to help one another. You know what? I'm not a mechanic. I am not. But if I have a friend that's a mechanic and we get together, we are a team because I have my skills, he's got his skills, right? If we have somebody that's a nurse and that can do better than band-aids like I know how to do, right? That's even better, right? If we have someone that knows how to fix AC units that's in that trade, praise the Lord, because I don't know how to fix that stuff, right? Um, you know, Things like that. It's time for us to start gathering together in our community and moving those things around, because we have to train those teams because they need support, they need help, and it's important for us to be able to do all of that. So guys, I just wanted to share that with you tonight, and I hope that you guys are looking at this in a way uh, of importance, because all of these things that are happening are now being given to us in this form. They're not coming out and they're not saying, "Oh, this stuff is going to happen." They're doing it in little doses, like this document. And so, guys, be vigilant, because the little small notes are out there. The little nuances of information is out there. Go to the source. I go to the CIA page. I go to the FBI page. I go to the Pentagon page, and all of that information is in their news page. Go to the news tab, and you will find it there. So be vigilant in that way, guys, because the days aren't getting better, and we need to be ready for what is going to happen. So, guys, thank you for joining me tonight here at God's Prepared Warrior, and I hope to see you next Monday at 9 p.m. for our next Roundtable Live. Thank you, all of you who have been here tonight, and all of you over here on TikTok. And I'm just so super excited about what you guys are doing with the channel. So, God bless you guys. Have a good night. And I am praying for all of you. Be blessed. Bye bye.